Good morning, team. Let's go. It's that time, ladies and gentlemen, and we're right here on what's called Cruising with a Case Handler. I am David Squeezaniki. It's time for the show. It's 28 minutes before the hour. Want to say thanks to each and everyone for joining us. And this, in my opinion, is one of the most powerful segments on this station. It's a panel of attorneys that is all about helping people. And I've got good news and I've got bad news. All right, so hopefully everyone is paying attention today. I've got good news and I've got bad news. The good news is that they're still going to continue to help people, all right? These great attorneys. The bad news is the free phone consultations that you normally get, okay, will not be free anymore. No, it won't be free anymore. So what does that mean? That simply means anyone that is out there that would like to ask any U.S. immigration question, any immigration question in relation to the United States of America, guess what? Now is the time to pick up the phone and make a phone call over to Pollack, Isaac, and the Seco, PPID. Get your free phone consultations in before it ends on December 31st. All right? And you can call them, attorneys, that is, and make that phone consultation with them, schedule it, all right, and speak with them and ask your questions. The number is 844-774-3529. That's 844-774-3529. I would like to welcome to the show, ladies first, Alexandra Boss Lady Bondikov of PPID. She's an attorney. How are you doing today?
I'm well, thank you.
Okay, it's a blessing to have you here on the show. It's good to have you back. Always look forward to having you every week on the show. You've got
Thanks for having me.
You're a true immigration attorney, true attorney, period. And you're at the firm PPID, Pollack, Isaac, and DeSico. Nelson Madrid disappeared. I'm quite sure he'll be back soon. But let's check in with the managing partner, the boss man. Okay, Conrad Pollack. How are you doing, man? Before you even say anything, why does it look like you're in one of these bars that we went to college, that we were in college and we would go to? You know, the background looks like a little bar there. I don't know what's that. What's going on there? You're muted. You're muted.
I had to stop along. Good morning. I had to stop along the way. I'm on the road, so I'm in a makeshift environment.
Oh, I see. But it looks good.
But changing the subject a little bit. I noticed the greetings you give to Alexandra when she's on, when Shira's on. I don't get that kind of greeting. What's the deal with that? Nelson doesn't get that kind of greeting. We have the women from our firm come on. It's like, oh, it's so great to have you. Where have you been? I love you. It's like, Conrad comes on. Hey, what's up?
You know what? I mean, this is true. This is a true statement. I don't know how people will take this, but women are the most powerful species on this planet. They actually give life. We only support it. They give it. So we got to say thanks to them. But it's always great to have them on the show, though. Nelson Madrid is joining us right now. By the way, the managing partner, Conrad Pollack, we call him the maestro. He's the architect of the firm that has been around for 60 years, ladies and gentlemen. And I must applaud him for what it is that he has done in putting such a great team together. And as Nelson gets fired up, and he's off again, we just want to say to each and every one, start placing your questions on Facebook, start placing your questions in a WhatsApp group that Ali and of course, Tracy puts together. So make sure that you actually get those questions going and we will get them answered before the show is over. Let's jump right into it. When the boss lady comes on, the attorney, Alexandra Bondikov, we always ask her for updates as to what's going on with immigration, if there is anything. So let's go to her to find out if there are any immigration updates. DACA came back recently, full blast, and I'm very happy about that because a lot of people will be getting help or getting help. And as Conrad noted last week or earlier this week, that is not something that one should be doing themselves. So make sure you call 844-PPID-LAW. Alexandra.
A lot is going on, even though the administration is somewhat distracted, I should say. As you mentioned, DACA came back full force. CIS finally faced the music and updated their website. They have been resistant to update their procedures, even though several federal courts told them that they need to start accepting applications. So they are doing it now, so which is a good thing. Another positive development this past week, the temporary protected status for citizens of 4 countries, El Salvador, Honduras, Haiti, and Sudan, has also been extended through October.
Alex, let's talk about exactly what TPS is, because
Yeah,
a lot of people, including, and probably our host doesn't even know what that means. Why don't we, why don't we educate him?
Yeah, why don't you all educate me?
Just very briefly, TPS is basically an interim status. It's a deferred action. Basically, USCIS or ICE will not deport citizens of the countries that have been designated to receive that protection. And that protection is basically given because of an event. It may be a natural disaster for El Salvador and Honduras. I think it was an earthquake in 2001. Haiti also an earthquake more recently, 2010. Liberians have been protected for a very long time due to the civil war. So, and Sudan as well. It could be for any natural or man-made disaster. And the idea behind it is that if we deport everybody who's here, it will overwhelm the infrastructure of the country. So the administration just says, we will temporarily not deport you. And while you're here, they would give them a work authorization, and in some instances also would grant an advanced parole so people can travel. But it's not a real status for purposes of, it's not like an H-1B, or it doesn't give you a path to, permanent residence.
TPS is temporary protected status, and it's been around for, I think it started with El Salvador back in the early 90s. So it's been, 25 going on, 25 to 30 years they've been issuing it. And it's typically a proclamation issued by the administration that temporarily protects people from a particular country. And like Alex said, man-made or natural disasters, hurricanes, floods, wars, political upheaval like Syria, that's typically what happens. Now, the thing is, though, the argument against TPS, temporary protected status. So it's not supposed to be forever. People don't get green cards from it. They get permission to work while they're here. It's a humanitarian thing. It's a nice thing to do, and it's in keeping with our heritage in the United States. There was a earthquake in Haiti. Let's help these people out that need our help. So it allows them to travel, to go back and visit their relatives if necessary who need help. And it's typically based on humanitarian needs. Of course, this administration has very little.
Before you go on with that, what's the end game with TPS?
Nobody knows. TPS prior to the Trump administration was never terminated for any country. Any country that ever received TPS, it never was terminated. It was always extended. And this is going back again to the early 90s. The Trump administration, as I was about to say, humanitarian needs or any type of relief that the U.S. government typically does provide around the world. Mm-hmm. We've always been the greatest providers of that type of relief. They basically said, we don't need to do that. We're suckers. The United States always gets taken advantage of. So let's not do it anymore. And you know what? These people that have been here for 10, 20, 25 years, that's long enough. Let's end TPS and let's send them all back. So you have someone from El Salvador who's been here since 1995. He's been here for 25 years. You would think a guy like that has established some roots here by that point. No criminal record, hopefully. And if he had criminal record, he could lose his status, by the way. But established a family here over 20 years, 25 years. Well, you know what? TPS is up. We'll give you 6 months to pack your bags and get the hell out of here. That's basically how this administration has treated TPS. All right. Recently, as Alex said, that changed. Alex, any reason for the recent extension that they all of a sudden came up with? Because that, it's certainly not in keeping in character with this administration.
I don't know for any concrete reason. It hasn't been discussed. The last time there was an extension for El Salvador, it was basically because there was a bilateral agreement between the two countries. I don't know if something like this happened again. This time, I can't say. But generally speaking, in the rare circumstances when TPS has been in the past terminated, it wasn't automatic. There was a period of DED, deferred enforced departure, which basically said, we're going to give you a year, sometimes even longer, 18 months to prepare for departure. And this administration was not going to go through that at all. They won't give a DED.
I can't even think, going back over the years and all the different TPS situations that we've seen and heard about and read about, I can't think of one person who's ever left the country who was issued.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if anybody has been deported either. And people who have been here for a long time, I think they eventually find a way to legalize one way or the other. But I'm not aware of it.
Not always. I mean, we're working on a couple of cases right now. You see,
right.
we have a couple of clients right now that have TPS for years, and we're trying to get them green cards. They're working. They have employers to sponsor them, but for one reason or another, we can't get them green cards because of issues with the law.
Right.
If I could just jump in, actually, and I don't know if you guys already spoke about this. TPS even protects people who have existing removal orders. You can't be removed if you have TPS. And there are some people, we have some clients from Haiti, in fact, who have existing removal orders, but they have to, and actually from Central America as well. They have existing removal orders, and under normal circumstances, if you have nothing else, I have TPS, it prevents that from happening. It's basically permission to remain in the United States and work.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting point. And once again, folks, if you're just joining us, this is what's called Cruising with a Case Handler. It's a show that is brought to you by the law firm Pollack, Isaac, and Masico, PPID. And we're saying if you have any kind of immigration concerns, it's extremely important that you hire this firm. Just reach out to them. The number is 844-774-3529. That's 844-774-3529. Until the end of the year, yes, you can get a free phone consultation. Just schedule it with one of the attorneys, but make sure you call that number now. Don't wait until tomorrow. Call them now, 844-774-3529. You may proceed, Alexander. You are continuing on.
How much time do I have?
A few moments before we get there. Don't worry, take your time. You're not here every day like these guys,
Well, another very positive development on the business side of immigration is the recent court ruling setting aside two rules that were meant to curtail the use of the H-1B visa category. Back in October, the Department of Labor came out with updated wage levels for salaries that people in H-1B status must be paid, and also people who would be sponsored for green cards. And those salaries were 30% more than they were before, which of course would make many employers think twice about whether they can even afford hiring international talent. So several district courts, federal courts, have set aside that rule, which is certainly very good news. And I don't think that the administration has time to republish the rules and make them final before the new one steps in on January 20th. So that's certainly very good. However, there are several proposed regulations that are still in the works. The one that concerns me the most is the proposed elimination of the duration of status for Fs and Js. The comment period on that closed, and the final rule is being drafted. So this one will probably become final before January 20th. Many other rules are in the works. One that probably Nelson can speak to is the proposed fee increase for filing appeals. It's going to be something like $895 to file an appeal. And of course, we all know the chilling effect this will have on people's court cases. The proclamations, I think people are very interested about the status of the proclamations. In my mind, logically, I divide them into big groups. The economic ones are the proclamations that ban the issuance of immigrant and non-immigrant visas. Those are set to expire December 31st. We fully expect that those will be extended just so that the new administration can then come back and take affirmative action to rescind those. The second set of travel bans are connected to health issues, health. I call them the health proclamations, and those are the ones that prohibit travel from the Schengen area, the UK, Ireland, Brazil, China. And those just say that if a person has been in those countries for 14 days prior to entering the United States, they cannot come. Interestingly enough, I just read a very interesting analysis. The administration may actually lift those. That would put the new administration in a tough spot because they were directly related to combating COVID, and that's certainly very high on their priority. So we'll see how that one goes. But speaking of international travel, I want to mention something that we see a lot of now. People are quarantine fatigued at this point. People are traveling more and more and internationally as well. And many people are already in the immigration process. They're waiting an interview scheduled or biometrics. And I just wanted to caution people, if you're abroad, if you've traveled within 14 days, USCIS will not let you attend your interview or biometrics appointment. So be mindful of this. I know many people, you know, the holidays are coming, they're planning on, you know, going visit family or whatever. If you have a biometrics appointment scheduled or an interview, if you return prior to 14 days from the date of the appointment, USCIS will not even let you in. And by the way, it's not just a matter of them asking you, they actually go and affirmatively check your travel records.
Okay.
So
Once
we
again,
mentioned this.
Great. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, the attorneys are here, and we're talking about what's going on with immigration. It's always great to have, you know, Alexandra Mondakov, one of the attorneys from the law firm PPID, on the show, bringing us up to date as to what's happening with immigration in specific areas. I want to say thanks and welcome to Nelson A. Madrid. You heard his voice earlier, the Maverick, and everyone knows that that man is the man. God forbid you get in trouble, had some run-in with the law, and you're seeking your immigration benefits. You don't need to go to any other firm, man. I warn you. All right, go with him. He'll let you know straight up. Okay, if you should stay under the radar or you should definitely get something sorted out. He's going to give it to you straight. All right, we all have rights in this country, regardless of our status. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Cruising with a Case Handler. Today's show is on immigration. We're going to jump right into it with some questions, but I want to remind you to actually do it now. Don't wait until later on. Call the firm, hire the firm. Biden is coming with a whole lot, but you need to get into the system. Call up Nelson, call up Alexandra, call up Conrad and said, hey, I'm in. I'm down with PPID, all right? And hire them. The number, once again, 844-774-3529. That's 844-774-3529. First question here, okay? Asking for someone. If any of your original document is laminated, like original birth certificate or original marriage certificate, will there be any problems during the interview? Nelson?
You know, I've never seen that before. You know, the officer actually conducting the interview has a lot of discretion. You know, something that I tell many of our clients is, you know, you speak to 10 people who got a green card, you're going to hear 10 different stories. You know, I'm sure some officers will be okay with it, and I'm sure others will not. You know, it all depends on who you get. It's a roll of the dice.
Okay, all right. Once again, that's the voice of Nelson Madrid. Once again, make the link 844-774-3529. Hi, yesterday I got a notification that my green card interview is scheduled, although I haven't received my work permit. States that my fingerprints are applied. What does this mean for me?
That means nothing. That means you're scheduled for a green card appointment and you haven't gotten your work authorization. You know, work authorizations used to take up to 90 days from the time in which you filed your application for adjustment of status. Now, employment authorizations can take anywhere from 6 to 8 months, in some cases longer. You know, I've seen this situation before. And of course, when we get to the interview, my client asks the officer, you know, oh, I haven't gotten my employment authorization. And the officer says, well, you're going to get a green card. A green card is more than an employment authorization, right? What would you prefer, an employment authorization or a green card? So again, it's not something uncommon. It's something probably a lot more common today than it was several years ago. You know, good luck on your interview.
And ladies and gentlemen, you know, I hear the cynicism in Nelson's voice right there. And that cynicism basically is saying, why would you want to do this yourself? I mean, seriously. And the reason why that is there is because so many times we get on this radio station, we get on Facebook, and we say to you, do not do your case yourself. You never know what can happen. Conrad says it all the time. Immigration is a minefield, all right? Let an attorney handle it for you. If your status in the United States is one of the most important things to you, which I believe it is, do me a favor and hire the firm. The number is do yourself a favor rather. 844-774-3529. That's 844-774-3529. Make that link, ladies and gentlemen, and let the professionals, in my capacity, that's what I call it, handle it, all right? PPID, 844-774-3529. All right, here's another one. My husband is a green card holder, and we submitted our petition October 14th, and on October 18, 2019, we received a notice. We're currently in Vermont Service Center, but there has been no update since. And when I call, it's always the same thing from USCIS.
Conrad?
They applied in October 2019, you said?
Yeah, on October 18, 2019, yeah.
And
they received a notice then.
She applied for her husband, she's saying, right? Did she say she has a green card if she's a citizen?
Her husband is a green card holder, and they submitted the petition October 14th and on October 18th in 2019. And in 2019, rather, they received a notice. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, I don't know why they haven't heard anything in a year. That doesn't bode well. But you know, again, this is something that happens. You know, they go on their own. You know, and this is the kind of thing that happens. Normally, you know, if they had come to us or any reputable attorney, you know, they would have had an approval by now, and they could have been way farther along in the process, possibly, you know, on the way to getting the green card. Right now, I have no idea what's wrong with that application, but a year is a long time to be waiting to get it, just to get, not to even have an approval from the Immigration Service. That's unusual.
That's the reason why they should actually go with
right.
PPID. You know, so if something falls off the track or the path and all of that stuff, the burden is up on your attorney to investigate and see and find out what's going on. They are representing you. However, if you're doing it yourself, now you end up calling a show that's answering questions because you want to find out for free, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. But what are your chances of truly knowing what happened? Now, more than likely, you'll have to hire an attorney, you know, to actually figure out what went wrong. Many things could have gone wrong. All right.
You know, Squeeze, and just to add to that, you know, even hiring an attorney right now is a little complicated, right? Because now if I were to contact immigration on behalf of this person, immigration is going to say, we don't have you listed as the attorney of record, right? So now I have to send over what's called a notice of appearance to let immigration know that I am the attorney. But even that is not so simple, because you have to do that about 3 or 4 times before they actually ever update their system. So, you know, it's always best to have someone in the beginning, so we're already in their records. They know who we are when we call, and we're not, you know, playing catch up, you know, and all of a sudden trying to be recognized as the attorney of record. Because again, something as simple as faxing a form, that doesn't happen right away. Sometimes it takes weeks, sometimes it takes months for immigration to update their records listing the new attorney of record before they're willing to speak to us and provide any information.
You heard it, ladies and gentlemen. And you know, I know my people. I know how we get. We all think we can do this ourselves. And we always, in the middle of it, then call up Squeeze, your lawyer friends. Can you hook me up with them? Come on, guys. Reach out to them initially. All right. You're going to lose time and more than likely pay double, meaning you probably have to refile again. And as we know, the fees may go up very, very soon. So come on, make the call, 844-774-3529. That's the number for PPID, Pollack, Isaac, and the Seacoast.
You know, Squeeze, and if I could just jump in for a second, you know, I'm actually surprised. Conrad seems awfully quiet today. I figure he'd have a lot more energy. You know, Adam's not on the show. He's always complaining that Adam is like stealing his thunder. You know, he's flying CEP. Conrad is flying under the radar today. So I'm a little taken aback. I'm a little just thrown for a loop. So
actually, I'm just being courteous because Alexandra's on and she has many things to say. She's hardly ever on. So I'm basically ceding the floor to her today.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, let's see if we can squeeze this one in before the top. This one is for you, Alexandra. Hello, can someone tell me, please, if there's any chance to fix the name on the form DS-260 after getting the interview appointment? My name was not spelled correctly.
NVC and let them know.
Yes, except that the interview has already been scheduled, so the NVC may not get involved to this one, but or whoever asked this question will definitely have the opportunity to bring this to the attention of the consular officer during the interview. But it's important because if there's a mistake in the name, then presumably all the documents would be issued in that name. So it's very important to correct it at the interview.
Okay. And also, is this a true statement? You can actually change your name when getting your citizenship.
That is correct.
Okay.
That is actually, and that's a good point to mention. I typically tell my clients, this is your last chance. You know, I've had clients after the interview say, oh, I want to change it. You know, typically at the naturalization interview, right before the interview is about to end, most officers will ask you, do you want a name change? Would you like your name to remain the same? And that is your opportunity, or in my opinion, your last opportunity to make that change.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, going to the top of the hour, but one reminder, we're going to continue on the flip side, which is the Facebook side, with some more questions that we still have here. I am David Squeeze-Aniki. I fully endorse the firm PPID. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the longest running immigration radio show in the nation. That's Link Up Media. And of course, this firm that has been around for 60 years, they definitely have proven themselves. We've got 3 solid attorneys on board there with the firm PPID. I implore everyone, tell your friends, tell your family members, do not do your case yourself. There's way too many complexities right now. Make the call right now to get yourself a free phone consultation with an attorney. Just schedule with one of them. Make the call now. The number is 844-774-3529. Those free consultations will end at the end of the year. However, what's important is not even a free consultation. Hire them. 844-PPID-LAW. Let's go to the top.
It's 10 o'clock.
All right. Let's continue with some more questions right here. And got one more here. It says here, I am a third country national, which means that I hold citizenship of a country that I'm not currently living in. I got married here, but my husband went back to the States, and now he wants to apply for a CR1 visa so he can bring me to move with him. I was wondering if it is possible, in case I passed all the stages before, to get the embassy interview in the country I'm living in right now, because I cannot go back to my home country due to my studies. And by the way, folks, you can say which country it is, all right? When you're giving these questions, a lot of people don't want to say the country. Come on, just put the country in there.
And that makes a difference. But anyway, CR1. Listen, CR1 is not a visa. CR1 is a classification of relating to when a U.S. citizen is applying for his spouse or her spouse to get a green card. That's what CR1 is. It's a conditional residence. That's the classification. They're applying for the green card based on marriage to a U.S. citizen. It's not a visa. Anyway, but sure, I mean, you can put the petition in, and if you're living in the country where you are currently, whatever country that may be, if you're living there legally, you can definitely process your case there. If you're there illegally, that's going to be a problem. You'll have to go back to your own country. There are additional issues because if you're living in a third country or you've lived in other countries, You will be required to provide a police certificate if you've been living in that country for more than a certain period of time. Typically, a couple months is sufficient, because they want to make sure that you've been behaving yourself while you've been there. But certainly, it can be done. Again, this is, we're getting a lot of calls today from people that either have done it themselves, the process, or are thinking of doing it themselves. This ain't the way to go, people. You're just going to be delaying, and look, you may be successful in the long run. A case that it might take you 2 or 3 years when it should have taken you a year. If the time doesn't matter, okay, then it probably makes sense to go ahead and do it yourself. But using experts in the process, specialists who do this type of thing every day, really does make a difference. If the timing, again, if you want to wait 3 years instead of a year for your spouse to join you, maybe, hey, some marriages that might be a good thing. But in general, that's probably not the way to go.
Absolutely.
And just to add to what Conrad is saying, the question earlier today, I have an appointment for my green card, but haven't received my employment authorization, right? So this question has been lingering with this person for quite some time. If you had an attorney, you could simply pick up the phone, give them a call, and ask this question, right? And again, it wouldn't linger. You'd get an answer right away. You'd feel a lot more confident and a lot more comfortable.
But you know what, Nelson? And it wouldn't even have gone that far, because, when we file a case like that, we apply for work authorization immediately, and we track cases like that. So it takes a year minimum to get that interview. Work authorization, maybe 6 months max. So we're going to know way before your interview's even scheduled. Not to mention, you can probably call us to ask, hey, what happened to my work authorization? Instead, person's probably been waiting a year and a half, 2 years, who knows? And no work authorization.
And probably asking friends and asking neighbors and Googling on the internet and trying to find out, So in my opinion, just my opinion, my peace of mind is priceless. But that's me, Well,
one question I want to ask you, Nelson, before we end the show, when one is being filed for, the individual that is being filed for, they're still in their respective country, right? Does arrest or convictions have any relation to the filing itself?
It could. Absolutely, it could. Obviously, depending on the arrest, depending on the seriousness of the arrest, depending on whether the person discloses the arrest. If the person does not disclose the arrest, obviously, I would never encourage anyone to lie to immigration.
Right.
In fact, I'll give you a quick example, which doesn't have to do with a conviction or a criminal offense while applying abroad, but about somebody who lied to immigration. I had a client who was apparently married to his stepdaughter before he married the mother.
Right. Wow.
And he basically, but no, hear me out. The client basically said, well, so of course he never disclosed this to me. He never disclosed it to the firm. Mm-hmm. He went for an interview with the wife. They asked him, were you ever previously married? He said, no. The wife said, were you ever previously married? She said, no. They said, what about your husband? She said, no, this is the first marriage for both of us. Long story short, this guy was fighting his case for 8 years for saying that one lie, right?
Right.
The issue was not, he was definitely married to his wife. He later revealed to me, he said, look, I was married to her daughter, but me and the daughter didn't have much in common. I met her mother and we ultimately clicked, and that's the person who I'm with and that's the person who I want to be with. The issue was not that he was previously married to the stepdaughter. The issue was that he lied and got caught in a lie.
Right.
And that case went on for 8 years because of that one little lie.
Right.
Okay. Now, we were successful at the end, right? My client got a green card. But you want to refrain from ever lying to immigration. One of the worst things that can happen is for you to get caught in a lie, especially, a significant lie, right? Because there's a difference between what's considered material and immaterial, right? Immaterial would not affect the final outcome. So let me give you an example, right? You say I was arrested, or you failed to disclose you were arrested for hypothetically drinking an open container, right? Drinking out of a bottle, right? Mm-hmm. You don't disclose that. Immigration finds out, they deny your case, or they say, you know, we need a request for evidence. You lied to us. That's immaterial. Why is it immaterial? Because even if you had disclosed that, that would have no effect whatsoever on your case. So it's not serious enough to affect the outcome of your case. Material would be, you know, you got arrested for selling drugs and you're not disclosing it, and immigration catches it. That's material.
That's serious.
Because had you disclosed that, it would have affected the outcome of your case. You know, you would probably be ineligible for this visa that you're applying for. So there's a lot of variables, a lot of things you have to take into consideration. You know, there are waivers available for people who lie and obviously get caught lying. But again, it all really comes back to the seriousness of the arrest and whether or not a waiver is even available to that person.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nelson Madrid, aka the Maverick, he has been coined as. You know, he's an attorney, a partner at the firm PPID, Pollack, Isaac, and DeSico. We also want to say thanks to Alexandra Boss Lady Bondikoff for being on the show, bringing us up to date with a few immigration points. Conrad Pollack, the managing partner. I want to say thanks to you all. And once again, remember, I am saying this, two things. One, the immigration consultations, which happens to be for free, will end at the end of the year. If you want to still get a free one, make sure you call them now, 844-774-3529. Also, in January, we're coming to you with a community forum where we're going to have hundreds of people from all over the country being able to log on to this forum and ask their questions right there. We're actually putting that together, and we'll let you know more about it when we have done that. With that said, any final words from anyone before we go? You're muted. Yeah, go ahead.
I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in and following us on Facebook, all of the listeners, all of the callers. It's always great, always a lot of fun.
Okay. Conrad?
Just sorry for all the empty airspace today. It's just we're not used to the case handler, you know, not being on a Friday morning. It's just, you know, normally there'd be not one iota of empty airspace, but it's actually, you know, weird morning, huh?
And the lady, Alexandra Bondikoff, any words you have before we go?
Thank you for having me.
And we'll have you again. All right, ladies and gentlemen, prior to that guide you similar outcome, but make it PPID because I'm down with PPID. The number is 844-774-3529. Get on their website. All you got to do is type in PPID in, of course, your Google search bar. Boom, they pop up. All right, follow them and give them a call and hire them. That's the best information I can give you. Take care. Have yourself an amazing weekend.